Hello, everybody. Welcome to the JD Theory. Today, I will be counting down my top 5 horror movies of the 2020s thus far. We're halfway through the decade, so I figured I'd throw my 2 cents into the bucket. Before I get into the actual list, I recommend everybody watch the movies if you haven't seen them yet, because after I say what I say, I will be speaking freely. So if you need to pause and come back, do so as you please. Now, let's get on to the honorable mentions. First honorable mention, we have Smile. It's a great first addition to this new franchise, an amazing concept, actually terrifying both visually and conceptual, and it really just missed out on this list due to strong competition this decade. This movie and many others on this list, it's a sure sign that horror is back to actually being scary, even at a blockbuster level. Next, we have Scream 6. And though 5 was the true revival of the Scream series, 6 takes the cake. Great cast of characters, great scenes, and the most memorable entry of the series since Scream 3. Now, the scene crossing the ladder from apartment to apartment, if you know what I'm talking about, if you've seen it, it really signifies the level of absurdity and panic this movie kind of induces onto you. And as always, the twist reveal at the end, it's over the top, but it's fun. As to be expected from Scream movies, shout out to Gale Weathers, still holding strong. And our last honorable mention, Speak No Evil. Now, in theory, this movie is perfect. Strangers meet strangers under the hoax of being, exciting, wild foreigners you befriend on vacation. They invite you to their lifestyle for a weekend, and it breaks up life's monotony. And yes, this movie does deliver. The son who can't speak, Ant, he's the real star here, as the mystery of his lack of speech and the way he's treated, it keeps raising flags throughout the film. And then Patty is also this loose man. He lets his anger peek through the cracks, and the tension of his meltdowns build up until it's clear his family is not normal. Now, this didn't make the list off the fact that it didn't reach the heights I think it could have. Still excellent, but I think it could be even more amped up. The danger, it really could have felt more threatening, But now, it is time for the top 5, the scariest movies of the decade thus far. Number 5, Cuckoo. Now, truthfully, this film, it is quite odd, but it has a charming oddness to it. Gretchen is forced to live overseas with family, and things start slow. Gretchen finds a job, works for a strange man, Herr Koenig, or however you pronounce it. And this quickly spirals into an odder and scarier film, and it finds itself almost in like a science fiction thriller sort of thing, because this strange man is working on a project to preserve this parasitic race, and it lives within human bodies. And honestly, if I try explaining any more of this, I'll end up making no sense. But if you've seen this film, chances are you've gotten something out of it. And it's an honestly shocking and creepy film at its core. Definitely check this one out if you haven't. Great movie. And number 4, I have Longlegs. And this is another one that is strange. And while this one, it doesn't get as weird, it certainly ups the scare factor. You have Agent Harper, who's investigating a serial killer, this character Longlegs, and he is quite the odd fellow. This one's riddled with occult themes throughout. While uncovering this psycho's intentions, it takes us back to Harper's past, trying to find, tying back to her old mother. And this movie, it's twisted. Longlegs himself, great performance from everybody all around involved in this film. And there's also this, black magic stuff going on with dolls. twisted stuff, really. And if you've seen it, it's hard to explain, but when watching it, you're really on a journey. Recommend this to anybody who's into, mystery in their horror. Number 3, Heretic. And wow, this one, it makes you think. An intellectual or a contrarian with a thesis that only fits his narrative. Mr. Reed, he lowers 2 young church sisters who enter his home to challenge them on their belief of Christianity, only for it to be a live experiment to challenge belief in itself. Now, this one really builds up at a perfect pace, from that scene with the prophet to the final scene of the girls in cages to the escape. Now, this is a thrilling movie front to back, with a sickening reveal that Sister Paxton is able to unveil and luckily get away from. And I think this would be a notch higher if Sister Barnes didn't have a nearly ridiculous revive. But Heretic is such a wild ride and experience, and it honestly warrants its position at number 3. Now, number 2, I went Weapons. This movie, it blows my mind in a few ways. Now, the creepiness from the moment the aunt is introduced is immediate, and goddamn, when the strain of hair is cut when Justine is sitting in her car, it's terrifying. But not only the creepiness of this movie amazes me, it's the entertainment value here, because the constant perspective shifting is a great way to tell this story. I love seeing all the perspectives, especially when it's James, the addict, and his run-ins with Paul, and then he finds the missing children. And I'm also a fan of the open-ended interpretation of the ending. Was Gladys a voodoo lady, an alien? What was she? And even though we get a huge payoff at the end with that final sequence, it will probably be cemented in horror cinema. We didn't get a happy ending, because after the kids, tear Gladys apart, they never go back to being normal. It's kind of twisted. And a lot of speculation seems to be that this film is a representation of, drug addiction. It's an interesting take and surely sensible parallels, but I'm not trying to peel the onion back on this one. I just love the product of what I'm seeing, and Weapons is most certainly an essential horror movie this decade. And here we go, numero uno, Smile 2. Now, if the idea of horror, in essence, is purely to scare you, this movie triumphs over everything. And, I'm an adult nearly shitting my pants and having an honest-to-God panic attack in the movie theater. And, somehow this movie, it just continues and continues to escalate and escalate into scarier and scarier scenes, that by the end of it, you're dissociating for a few minutes. I don't think any horror movie has shook me for so long and so hard ever before this. And I mean that in every sense when I say Smile 2 is the most horrific experience I've had watching a film. Now, very rarely do you get something of this caliber. The only other thing that comes to mind is like Candyman when I first saw it, or The Box and The Creep Show when I was a kid getting into horror. And I've made a point at the start of this video not to mention the sequel so that I didn't spoil my number 1 entry, but if you've seen this film, you probably would put it here too. So there you have it. Smile 2, best horror movie of the 2020s so far. So, there you have it. Those are my picks, my top 5 horror movies of the 2020s. Few honorable mentions. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Should something be higher? Should something be lower? Am I missing something? Keep in mind, I haven't seen every movie that's ever come out, right? I'm only a single human being doing this, it's just me running this channel, and I don't have time to watch everything. But if there's something absolutely essential not on this list, please let me know in the comment section below. And thank you. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.